Good morning. Thank you for joining us for this digital marketing workshop series for entrepreneurs and small business owners. Today is session 4 of our 4-part series, and we'll focus on understanding analytics and data. I'm your moderator, Renee Goodnow from the New York Small Business Development Center. Your presenter today, you can see on camera, is Frank Corrao from the Active Web Group. Frank is a senior digital strategist and marketing manager there. Also on camera, you can see Vanessa Sikora. She is joining us from the Mid-Hudson SBDC. Vanessa will be available during the Q&A to answer any SBDC related questions. Off camera for now is Scott Ford, also from the Active Web Group. Scott will be joining us at the end to talk a little bit about the Active Web Group. I mentioned today's host is the Mid-Hudson Small Business Development Center. The Mid-Hudson SBDC is part of the New York SBDC's network of 22 campus-based centers and outreach offices located across New York State. We are a U.S. Small Business Administration resource partner. Our free services are made possible by funding from the SBA, New York State, our host campuses, and our presenters. With that, Frank, I will turn things over to you because I know this session is jam-packed.
As are they all. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me again. Name's Frank Corrao from Active Web Group. Again, activewebgroup.com. If you're here, you've probably listened to me ramble on the past 3 weeks. So thanks for sticking around. It's been quite the adventure, and I know you have a lot of questions. I know some of this is a little bit deep water and complicated. I'm trying to keep things as simple as possible while using verbiage and acronyms that may come up in your digital marketing pursuits. So one more time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some of that terminology. Okay, so this is understanding analytics and data. So a lot of this terminology is important here as I start to look at a Google Analytics dashboard or start to diagnose or review some of these important metrics. So here are some important metrics for you to know as a business owner. Sessions and users. This is how many sessions a user might. So if a user comes in, I went to the site 15 times. So I'm one user, I have 15 sessions, okay? New and returning visitors. If I'm a new visitor versus a returning visitor. Again, as we spoke on last week, a returning visitor might be great for a remarketing strategy or remarketing position, right? So I'm running a robust SEO campaign whilst maybe spending a couple bucks on some kind of targeted marketing somewhere, whether it be email or pay-per-click. What might make sense if I was to then do a remarketing campaign. A good example for that is if I am a public claims adjuster, right? I've been running emails all throughout the year, right? People have been visiting my website, but you know, springtime, in the fall, we don't see so much action, you know, in residential homes, you know. But in the wintertime, you know, with roof collapses, fires, things like that, we just had a big giant snowstorm, I'm sure you, you guys have also dealt with. So during that time, when it's time to file a claim, if I get a remarketing banner and I keep on getting that mention, you might remember me when it's time to buy. Okay, so not everything is an instantaneous purchase. Sometimes there's a long lead cycle with some of your business models. Okay, with that being said, a remarketing position might do you wonders. But that's why you would need to know about your returning visitor acquisition. Okay, the bounce rate, how many users are bouncing off? We talked about reasons why and how to diagnose that. Average page load time, how long does it take for my site to load? Again, the bounce rate might affect that, right? If the cause is that my site has a video on it and it's loading really slow. The effect is that people are not looking at my site, they're not scrolling down, they're just quickly bouncing out of the page and exiting because nothing has loaded fast enough. People are impatient nowadays, they want instant gratification. Organic versus paid sessions, this should be commonplace for you now. So organic is our SEO, when people are organically searching for us. I do not count brand positions. So if I am to type in Active Web Group, I already know that company. They're not finding me organically. Paid sessions, so this is anything I've paid for, if I'm paying for a click. Top landing pages, so these are the top pages on your website that people might have visited. When you first start down on your journey on SEO, you'll probably find 9 times out of 10 that you're going to see /, which is just the home page. This is common. Then you might see the about page. I see this a lot too. The reason why is because Google is reading your website like a book. A lot of times people are front loading the book, right? So the front of the website's pretty heavy. And it's also the first thing Google's going to index and read is the homepage. So when you start building your website, you want to have a lot of content on a homepage, but you want to have content elsewhere for Google to read. 9 times out of 10, I will also see that the About page has a lot of content on it because people love talking about themselves. So that's why I'll usually see the About page as number 2 as a top landing page, because it's ranking organically better than the other ancillary pages. So it's important to cross-channel, cross-platform throughout your site to sprinkle in content appropriately. If there's a specific conversion page you want, you have a buy now section or something of importance that relates to your products or services, it's important to stuff enough content in there and have a goal completion on that page. The About page is notorious for people not putting in a conversion point on there, whether it be a click to call, a form fill out. I never see those things. So consider that when you're looking at top landing pages, because if you don't have a conversion point on your maybe 1 through 5 top landing pages, you're probably leaving money on the table. What are channels again? And again, this is going to be a little redundant, but this is done by design. Direct. So these are visitors visiting off of www.com. I'm going to activewebgroup.com. I directly went there because I got a business card by that handsome guy Frank at a trade show. If I'm doing that, that's really not a digital marketing lead, right? So direct channel important for me to know, but it's not the most important for me in terms of digital marketing. Organic, that's your SEO, who's coming off of a viable keyword. SEO services near me, digital marketing firms near me. Organic search. Paid search, anything I paid for again. Social media can be a paid spend acquisition. It could also come organically. Anyone visiting my website through social media. Referral channel, that's people coming outside of the search engine through backlinks. So if I'm in a directory, this goes in turn with our domain authority we talked about. We have a good link building campaign that helps our referral channel. And then email is pretty straightforward. Analytics, let's get into it. Okay, so there's a couple things at play here. First, you have surface level data. This is this to me is like the most important and more easy to digest data. This is really what we're going to be diving into. This data is things like, as I said before, where are users coming from? What are my top channels or platforms if we're thinking about tangible marketing? What landing pages are they visiting? Are they getting 3 pages deep on the website? And if they're not, why are they not? Why are they going 5 pages deep and exiting out and not converting? What's going on? So you could start to make observations based on the data. Again, data is king. So you can make observations based on the data, and then from there you could make a discernible direction, right? Okay, so this is your analytics dashboard, and I'm going to pop open the dummy analytics dashboard momentarily. But this essentially would be the first thing you see when you set it up. You're going to see over to the left-hand side, you have your homepage, which essentially is your dashboard, and you could set this dashboard up any way you want. Whenever I do a one-time SEO setup, I will typically set up a dashboard, and I'll set that up to the needs of the business or the needs of my client. Not everybody needs to see the same thing. It might not be important for you to see where visitors are coming from in terms of a geographic region, right? Or it might be because you only do business in a certain location. So these things are customizable. Then you have your real-time audience data, your overall audience data, your acquisition, where people are coming from, how you're acquiring a user. Behavior, which we're not going to get so deep water into, but I'm going to show you some things. And then the conversion funnel. How are people converting? Where are they converting? And then below that, you have some of your discovery and your admin section. The admin section will give you the ability to add and delete users as needed. And I'll show you the different user setting profiles. Okay, what is your traffic source is the first thing I like to think of. We talked about this. So what platform is your person who's visiting the website coming from, right? You're coming from organic, direct, you see here. And you can also see when and how. You could search within different days. So you see here at the bottom, last 7 days. And then you can pull an acquisition report. Again, momentarily, I'm going to pop open analytics for you guys. How are users trending over time? And these are all things I put in my initial dashboard here. So how are users trending over time? So this will give you a report on a daily, a weekly, a monthly, whatever parameter you set, how are users trending. If you notice mid-month, you have a lot of users, and the end of the month, you have a lot of users. Good example will be, again, I believe I mentioned this before, in a fitness facility, for example. Traditionally, they'll have a mid and end of the month closeout for members, right? For membership acquisition. So they'll run a huge promotion headed into the 15th of the month, and then they'll run another one at the end of the month, like around the 30th of the month. So they should see a spike in traffic on the 15th, around the 15th, and around the 30th because of that. If you're running some kind of promotion that has some kind of tailwind to it, you might see that. There might be something going on here that will affect you. Maybe you attach to an ancillary email and you're seeing that traffic is trended up. These are things you want to look at, what we call anomalies. How well do you retain users? And this will tell you each week in a given month or 6 weeks, whatever parameter you set. Again, you could go and change this. How visitors are trending over time. You might find, like, in a given month, week 3, I get a lot of users. As I said previously with the fitness facility example, that might have a correlation to your overall strategy, or it might not. And if it doesn't, and you see it becomes a trend, you're looking at it over the course of a couple quarters, and you're saying, okay, this seems to be some kind of trend compared to last year. If you start to see that, you can start to diagnose why. Users by time of day. This could be important to you, it could not. It could be important to you because you're a B2B, you operate between the hours of 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, Eastern Standard Time, but you're getting a whole bunch of traffic at 10 p.m. on a Saturday. Why is that? Is there something I should do about that? Should I maybe serve a pop-up or send out an email because for some reason people are looking for my services at that time? This will kind of tell you when to start strategizing your marketing play, right? Or maybe the opposite is true and there's some gaps in what you're doing. So taking a look at this and trying to make a overall chess player strategy will be huge for you. If you have a lull, Tuesdays, your sales team, the phone's not ringing, they're just sitting there, messing around on their cell phones, but you want to get them some calls. If you're looking at this and you're not seeing many visitors around that time of day, you can start to strategize, okay, I have a hole here. Let me start to send out emails around this time. So I stack them. I stack my sales team. This is sessions by country. As I said previously, this could be a metric that is important to you. It might not. If I'm a B2B and I'm only in the Buffalo area, then I'm only going to care about doing business in Buffalo. So geographically, when I want to see, you could do a location overview so you could get deep water and see where they're going by county or by province. So I could see what's going on in my portion of the world in New York. But if I see I have a bunch of traffic at 2 a.m. in Bangladesh, that might mean I have some bot traffic, or there might be something going on that's not really in tandem with my overall business goals. Sessions by device, and sessions by device could be important to you as well. We talked about why from a website standpoint in week 2 when we talked about websites, but from an overall business and ROI standpoint and an overall strategy standpoint, desktop, mobile, tablet might be important to me because my website does certain things on each mobile device. If let's say that traffic is so minimal on a mobile device, like 2% of my users come from a mobile device because I'm a B2B and people are on a desktop computer, I'm noticing what time of day they come visit my site, that might be okay for you. But you might be a B2C, a business to consumer brand or business. And if so, let's say you sell shirts and hats, you sell a lifestyle brand, you're a skateboard clothing company. If so, you're probably gonna see a lot of users on a mobile device. So you wanna make sure that one is proper. And you wanna look at your website and audit your website first on your mobile device. So knowing this is gonna be good for you. You could also see who's converting by device. So some of this data surface, but then you could dive deeper. And that's a good example of that. I could see who is visiting my website by device. I could dive a little deeper, and then I could see who's converting by device. Okay, what pages do users visit? We talked about this, / up top over here on the left, that's the home page. This tells us contact us, about, careers. These are pages that probably have some really heavy traffic and have some heavy copy, right? If they have some heavy copy, that's going to get anchored better into the SERPs or the search engines. Google, again, they read stuff like a book. So they're going to start with the front cover all the way to the back cover. If the first page you're submitting to Google is the home page, they're going to read that first. If you have a ton of copy there, that's going to be heavily anchored into the search. The contact us, again, as I said, and about us and the careers, those tend to have a lot of copy. So consider that as you put your product and service content together, because you want to make sure Google is ranking those pages, and you want to make sure as you're looking at this, well, I have the contact us page, but it doesn't have much in the way of a conversion point, or you know, that might be a little bit of a bad example because your contact us better have a way to contact you, right? But my About Us page doesn't. You might want to relook over that page and make some CRO or some design changes. Conversion rate optimization is CRO there for anyone who's flagging me right now. How are you performing against goals? So this tells you about your goals. If you set your goals here based on your conversion rate, your time of completion, and your goal value. So I've assigned that every time someone clicks on the contact me button up in the top, it's bright and orange. I listened to what Frank said in week 2. People are clicking on that. I've then not only assigned it as goal value 1, but I assigned it as goal value 1, and it has this amount of dollars every time someone clicks on it in potential value. That will start to help you turn your non-e-commerce site into a almost feel like an e-commerce site, in that you could give a potential lead or prospect value, right? And then you could run those numbers against who converted, and then you could start to really see where there's some kind of misses, some misfires. If you know that for every 5 users who click on that, 1 person's going to convert, that helps you understand your conversion rate against how many users are visiting your website. So all these numbers and figures are ascertainable in that you can diagnose problems, you could set goals, you could set performance tracking. For anybody who's a big sales nut, who's big into numbers, this is where you should be living. Okay, now taking a deeper dive at that. I'm going to take a little deeper dive, and then we're going to work backwards, and I'm going to go through analytics briefly. Okay, so taking a deeper dive through each one, we're now looking at the traffic by channel area where I clicked through and I saw that. So I could start to see who's visiting my website through what channel in any given time. So here we see most visitors are visiting in blue through direct traffic, okay? Maybe, again, I have some kind of every door direct mail, EDDM campaign. Maybe I just went to a trade show and I handed out a bunch of business cards. So there could be a correlation for that. The next one, organic, comprises a lot. I usually see this in reverse, by the way. I usually see number 1, organic, when you have a solid SEO campaign, which is the way it should be, followed by paid or some kind of other ancillary digital marketing position, and then direct. If you're relying heavily on direct traffic, that's not good because you're relying on a distro team of some kind. You're relying on some kind of guerrilla marketing. I don't like to do that because you're kind of just throwing caution to the wind there. You're kind of hoping it works out rather than setting up a campaign. But we could discuss that later. So I have all my platforms here, and then I have my traffic by channel, my traffic drivers, who is driving it. So based on organic search, Google is my number 1 search engine, followed by the Better Business Bureau.org. This is a very unique example here. The Better Business Bureau, it's a referral network. So that is my CLB, my custom link building that I'm doing. I got a good link from the Better Business Bureau, and it's 1, it's helping my domain authority, and 2, I'm getting referral backlinks to it. So that's good. Then I'm running an email campaign, and then this gives me an idea of some referral stuff here. This is actually this is a dummy thing we're going to look at in a minute. I set up a whole dummy Google Analytics account, so we can break stuff. But when we're doing this, you're going to see some things that are just a little off. Like that is our internal management system. Okay, so this tells you your total visits, your unique visitors, your percentage of visitors that stay on the site, completions, who's staying on the site, etc., and your top landing pages from that. And then each one has an average page time on site. Just because, for example, I have a lot of visitors visiting the homepage to /, they're only staying on there for 52 seconds. Is that enough time for somebody to convert? Am I finding that someone's clicking on there, they're converting, and then they're getting off within 52 seconds? Or am I finding that they're not finding the information they're looking for? It doesn't make sense to them. I didn't tell them who I am as a brand. I didn't lead them to a conversion funnel using colors and the rule of 3s, which we talked about. They couldn't find a contact me. They couldn't find my phone number. These things in terms of conversion could matter here. But if I see a lot of page views, but the time on site is minimal, and then I'm looking and no one's converting off that, the amount of page views is kind of just a missed opportunity, right? So we need to look back and at some CRO, some conversion rate optimization opportunities, and try to fix that. Okay, goals. Goals are my favorite thing, right? This is goal one completion, contact us form, the contact submit form. And you can look at this from various positions. January 1st to November 28th is when this one is, right? So this constitutes a large chunk of the year. So, and then I could go in a drop down to my different goals that I've set up, right? And this will tell me, you know, when what my traffic patterns look like. It looks like April and October have a similar traffic stream. Then it kind of dips a little bit, but it looks almost even keeled here. And again, this is a dummy account, so don't get so hung up on some of the metrics here. But we had 271 goal completions from the contact us form. There was no goal value for goal one, so I didn't say every time someone clicks on that, it's worth $50, right? If it was worth $1, then this number would say $271. Contact us submission form goal one conversion rate had a 2.37 conversion rate, so that's okay. You asked me what a good e-commerce conversion rate is, you know, 3 to 5% for pay-per-click. It varies in industry. Contact us form submission. What's the goal? The abandonment rate. That is a high abandonment rate. So we're almost at 90% abandonment rate. So people are visiting the site, they're not converting. That would be a tremendous miss. Okay, then I would have to work backwards and try to diagnose why. And that's what's really cool about analytics. It's similar to when you go to your mechanic for a checkup, right? And he's got the computer he plugs into the car underneath the steering wheel. When they do that, they're able to run some codes and see what's spitting out. So you know you have certain error codes. From there, they could diagnose what's going on. The same is true here. So I could work backwards and I see the problem, and then I work to find the solution for that problem. So now that you understand all this and you guys are experts, we could go into audience overview. So the audience overview is going to tell me a lot about the user. And here I'm giving you an example of comparing it from time period over time period, which you would do up top over here. So you would say from X time to X time, let me look at this. And this is how you should be looking at your goals. When you first dive into analytics, you're first diving into your metrics, you might find that you don't have any data because you never set it up. So you need to get a full year of data before you can compare it to the previous year. But you can do a quarter over quarter. Not every quarter is equal, right? If I'm a pool cleaner, I'm not really doing anything right now. So my site might be minimal. I have, you know, landscape companies and things of that nature that we oversee and help them reach their goals. You know, right now traffic is a little slow, so we're working on some other avenues for them. We're working on their domain authority. We're reassessing their content. We're working up an updated competitor analysis so we could strategize against the competition. Those things could happen now. So when the birds start chirping and my lawn starts growing, then we can start thinking about we're not thinking about these things. We've already done these actionables, so we're already there. We're already ahead. We're off to the races, ready to rank. And that's a big, huge mistake everybody makes. They think about getting set up on their goals the day they're supposed to, you know, actually get started doing that, or they need to be at their goals. Should have thought about that 6 months prior. So here you'll see your users. This tells me whether all these numbers are in the green. I set them up in the green, so so they'll be red if they're negative. So if I saw it was negative 30%, that number the users were in reverse, then I would have a negative, you know, there'd be a negative metric there. That means last year was better than this year. Why is that? But it looks this year we're up 30%, so that's good. That's a good sign. New users are up 31, almost 32%. Again, that's really good. Sessions are up, fantastic. The number of sessions per user is up only slightly. You're seeing 1.23, so they're visiting on an average, you know, a page in a quarter versus a page, you know, just under a page in a quarter, which that's not really a good metric. Overall, visiting one page, you probably want to see year one, they're visiting one page. Year two, they're visiting like 2.5 pages or something like that. But even still, that number's up. And again, this is dummy data, so don't hang your hat on it. Page views overall is up. It's almost up at 50%. That's miraculous. Pages per session, average session duration, so how long the user's staying on site, and the bounce rate. We talked about that bounce rate. Okay, and then channels. Now from that previous dashboard we saw way back over here, we could start to see by channel what's converting, where they're coming from, what the average order value is for each one. Now here I didn't set up a goal value, but on your site you would. If you have an e-commerce site, you must. So here I have, you're seeing organic search is my top acquisition channel. 43% of all users, almost 44% of all users are coming in from organic search, followed by paid search. This is something that makes sense here to me. Then direct. Direct is almost 16%. Referral, social, or other. Usually I see social a little further down. There are a lot of things to do in social. A lot of our clients have great success, but if you're just doing some organic posting on your own, you might not see people convert to the website. The goal of a lot of social media channels, and I don't want to get into a deep water discussion, this would have to be its own topic, should you guys request that. But social media itself, the goal of social media is for Mark Zuckerberg to keep you on Facebook. He doesn't want you to get off of Facebook. He doesn't want you to get off of Instagram. They want to keep you on those platforms. So it takes a little bit of effort, sometimes through ad spend, to get them off of that, because you want your user to engage in your ecosystem with your website. You don't want them to engage in Mark Zuckerberg's nonsense, right? So, because what happens there, we all know what happens there with Facebook. You know, you're scrolling down, you see Betty's just had a kid. My crazy cousin Jimmy's like a political nut. So you're seeing all that stuff, and then you get sidetracked and you forget about, I forgot about, I was looking at this active web group ad, or I was looking at active web groups Facebook page. So you have to captivate them from an organic standpoint, but you have to figure out a funnel or a process to get them to convert and leave Facebook and go on your website. It's a little sticky. But I always see social in the top 5 at least, we'll say. But usually organic, you got a good organic presentation going on. It should lapse what you're doing direct traffic rather quickly. But here we'll see the sessions, the bounce rate, the pages per session, everything we talked about. You guys are pros now. The contact us form goal 1, the conversion rate and the completion rate. So how many users are converting to my contact us form? And then how many people are actually completing that goal? Here again would be your goal value, your goal 1 value. If it was $1 and I saw that 271 people are completing it, then you would say to yourself, okay, that should say $271. If it was off slightly, then there's some kind of issue with your tracking that you'd have to diagnose. Okay, before we get into Google Ads, I'm just going to pop open analytics real quick. Mind my 160,000 tabs. It's like my brain. It's a lot going on. Okay, so this is an example. Here you would see all different things you'd have here. Here I star this one because that's the most important one to me. So when you look over to the right-hand side, over here right next to the analytics area, you should see your website. This again sounds odd because it's just a dummy account we set up, but it should say activewebgroup.com master. Here's where you'd customize it. Let's go back, make sure we're home. Here's where you'd customize your dashboard. I'm not going to get so deep water into that, but again, if you have certain metrics you want to see, like you need to know where users are coming from, are they regionally near me? That might be a thing you want to include in your dashboard. If you want to see in a clip, just quickly, how the conversion funnel, what are my top platforms, you could put that up top. All this stuff you could shuffle around a deck. There's plenty of cool things that you could add to your analytics platform. I do find whenever I dive into an analytics platform, it's not really ever set up, one, properly, or secondly, it's not set up to customization. So don't miss that opportunity. It's really great to see, and it's something then you don't have to bother your team about. You can just one click find out. Oh, I got today. Last 7 days, I had 4 users visit the website. Again, dummy traffic. No one's visiting this website. That's a bad number. But I could find out. So now here, let's say in the last 90 days, I had 29 users. I'm down from the previous year or something. So you could start to diagnose that stuff. Where do I acquire users? Traffic by channel. There's a dashboard to understand some of this. If you had some questions that I could tell you, it's not 100% perfect, like any of those assist things, but to a degree it will help you. How are your active users trending over time? Look at that. I have users up. Users, of course, going to jump out because I was just looking at this website. But you could start to see what's going on with the website, right? How do I retain users? When am I retaining the users? When are they visiting? Time of day? All the things we looked at. Now here you could really start to see where users are coming from. Nobody in Canada is visiting the website, or no one throughout the rest of the world, but they are coming in America. I had 1 user. Might have been me, it might not, wink, wink. But you can start to figure out where the users are coming from. And if it's America, you can go to location overview. Now I'm seeing it's in America. Let's click on the United States of America. Okay, that's not set, but traditionally you'd be able to see where they're coming from regionally, right? If you have it set up properly. I think it's not set up properly because I'm also scrubbed out of my analytic data pool. So it wouldn't say that, oh, someone from New York is visiting my website. But it's something you guys should see. You should see that users coming in from there and where they're coming from. What you can do is, from what I just said about scrubbing data, so everyone gets an IP address. It's almost like you get assigned a social security number when you're accessing the internet. So you have an IP address. You could take that IP address, you could put it into Google in the analytics in the admin section, and every time you then go visit the website, it's not going to count you as a lead. It's not going to count you as a user. You're not going to be counted into any of these metrics. I advise that if you have like 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 employees visiting that you work with, and they're visiting the website every day, you have a sales team that's always going to the website, scrub them out of the data pool. It's just going to give you truer data. If I only have 100 users visiting the website in a month, 25 of those is Jimmy over in sales. That's gonna really pollute my data pool. But if you have a larger demographic, let's say you get 100,000 users in a month, I only have 20 employees that are visiting the website, it's probably not worth it to get everybody. It's going to be a little bit of pain, but you can take the web guy and the top sales guy, throw them in there because they're always going to the website. So scrubbing some users out of the data pool might be a viable opportunity for you, like you see here. Then let's go back to the home dashboard, which is over here. So you're going to see a lot of that data. There's only a home page set up, so you should only see a home page. And again, the / is the home page. Real time, this tells me in real time what's going on. I can start to diagnose some of that stuff. My traffic sources in real time. No one's on the page right now, so there's nothing really to see. But if I have a robust site that users are constantly viewing, I could see what's going on and start to diagnose some of that stuff in real time. Audience overview. This is going to tell me about my overall audience. Who are they? What are they doing? How are they interacting and engaging with my website? You can even see it gets real cute. You can see by operating system, right? Linux and then Microsoft. I know who the Linux user is. But you're gonna start to see different operating systems. So if I see a lot of people are looking at my website on a Mac computer, or they're looking at iOS something or other, which would be an iPhone, then I could really speak to that if I have something unique that I want to put for that website. It used to matter a little bit more in terms of technology. Some were operating off some specific software. Let's take Flash, for example, which isn't a thing anymore, but certain websites were operating off different things, and that would have an effect here on my operating system. So I'd want to make sure that I'm playing to all operating systems and all browsers as well. Historically, when Internet Explorer was still a thing, for example, that would display sites a little bit different than some other browsers. So you'd want to be cognizant of that. But things are a little bit more streamlined nowadays, but be cognizant of how your website looks on all browsers and all devices. Active users, you can see what's going on with active users, how many visitors, lifetime value of a customer. This definitely is not set up because there would be no reason for it to be, but the lifetime value of a consumer, you could start to figure out how users are trending over time, lifetime wise. Again, good example is if I had a meal plan program that people had an average life cycle value of 10 weeks, they'd visit my website every Sunday at 8 p.m. to reorder. I would want to make sure for the 10 weeks they're doing that. Those are things you could set up over here. Not going to get into the cohort too much. Some of these things you could start to really dive into, like the user explorer feature. I could enable this. Just make sure there are some things that have to integrate, and you're probably going to have to update your privacy policy. So in week 2, we talked about on websites the GDPR and the California Privacy Act, and you're starting to see on websites people have that privacy protection thing where it says we store our data, here's what we do with it, and then they have a privacy portion in the footer of their website. you want to make sure you have all that set up properly before you're really going to start to turn on some of this stuff and start to get information about a user. But it's there for you that you can find out what their median age is, male, female. It's showing you over here to the right-hand side. And then you could use some of that data to do some cool things. But I don't want to dive too deep into that. I don't want to cloud anyone's brain. Get a privacy policy set up on your website. Okay, so we talked about demographics here. Interest, that again, that's under that area. That will tell you, I think it showed it here, what you're interested in, sports, food, drink, etc. If I'm a digital marketing firm, but I'm getting a lot of food and drink stuff, like people interested in food and drinks, why? Did I write a blog article about it and I see the blog traffic to that specific page is up? So again, diagnosing based on the metrics, but you could get that kind of data here. Geolocation, this tells you where people are based on location. You saw on my website that that wasn't fully set up properly, but United States, I have Ireland for some reason. I have no one from Canada. This will tell you where they're coming from. You can see by provenance, or again in the United States by state. You can even get at state level. You can start to get a little more granular. I have no data for state, so I can't get that granular, but you should be able to get more granular with it. The behavior, what they're doing, new versus returning, frequency. Technology is good. Technology will tell me the browser, the operating system, what network they might be coming on. Not set means it's just Google couldn't get that information. Google couldn't get a lot of information from me because I blocked my IP address. But if Google gets information from the user, they're going to place it there. Okay, then you have your mobile overview, what devices someone's coming off of. Yeah, desktop, which makes sense because I would be doing that on a desktop, or whoever's doing that on a desktop. But you'd see mobile device, you click in the mobile device and start to learn more about that stuff. Acquisition and behavior are important to me. So I want to know about the acquisition. I want to know about acquisition for a couple of reasons. So here you're just seeing direct. I showed you in my presentation that you have direct traffic, you have organic traffic, you have paid traffic, pay-per-click advertising, social media, things coming off a referral directory, which could be some link building, and then you have email. There's also not set. That's when Google can't define where they came from. Now, this is direct, obviously, because I just went directly to the www. But you would see all your platforms here. You can start to click on it and find out more. If you're leaning heavily into an SEO campaign, that should be your #1 source. If you're finding you're leaning heavily into an SEO campaign, however, the 2 emails you send out a year are eclipsing that, could be a couple other things at play. Again, not all SEO specialists, just like not all subcontractors are created equally. But the one thing I will say is that if you noticed some kind of anomaly like that, maybe you need to put some more equity into email marketing in that example. But there could be a couple things at play, as I said. Maybe you're going after wrong keywords, etc. All traffic, this will tell you about where the traffic is going from. If you have any ads you're running, there are no ads we're running, but so there's no need to dive into that. But this would tell you about your campaign history if you're running some ads. So if I have several ads set up, I have an A/B test. I'm testing one thing and I'm testing another metric with the same kind of with the same principles in mind. If you're doing that, then you'll check that here and see which one's the lead racehorse. You could also check in ads. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Your tree maps, etc. Social media, we talked about the social media, where they're coming from. You'll find referral networks here as well. Behavior, and then this will tell you about site speed and some of that other stuff. Conversions, so this will tell you about your conversion rate, who's converting where. I don't have any conversion points set up on that dummy site, but this will be where it's set up. You set up your goals here. They're going to give you little tags that you'd put into your website. E-commerce, again, if you have an e-commerce site, you better have all this set up. You better. I don't even want to hear about it. You better have that set up. And then this will tell you about your multi-channel funnel. So if you have multiple funnel streams, I have a landing page that goes here, I have this and that. That's going to start to paint that whole roadmap for you. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to show you is when you go to the admin section here, this is where you would go and add a user. So there'd be account management access, and then you would go and add users. All mine are here at Lovely Active Web Group, but you could add a user here plus add a user. You could give them a role so they could view it. If you want to give someone, some salesperson on your team access to view it, but do nothing else, you can do that. You can make them an admin so they could make changes to the account. If you hire someone like an active web group or anyone else in that matter, they would have to be an administrator on that, so they have full access. And then this is any restrictions you have. So they can't look at, they could be a viewer, but they can't look at revenue, which would be counterintuitive as a sales liaison, but they can't look at revenue. So it might be something you want to do. Okay, let's go back to my lovely presentation here. Okay, so we found all about Google Analytics. We looked at some stuff. I'm going to run through ads real quick. Scott wants to speak, and I know you guys probably have some questions. Okay, so we talked about Google Ads last week along with SEO. Now, I'm giving you examples of ads here. So this is an example of a general ad. So here's where you see active web group. I'm giving you us as an example because, again, we are my #1 client and we're also my most difficult client. So active web group here, this is where we have our general ad that's targeted that will appear either at the top or the bottom of search. This gives you a little bit of information about it. And then here's some of our service catalog. What we did is we put a couple snippets from the website in there so people could click directly on there. And then a call button, so you can call directly from Google if you wanted to without visiting the website, which doesn't always happen, but sometimes you'll get that. You could also place a form directly on there, so it will be a form directly out of ads. Here's how it looks over here with the extended listing. So once Google's trusted you, there's some trust involved, and you've been advertising with them for a decent amount of time, you can start to submit a little bit more information. For us, we put SEO services, our conversion optimization, our email marketing, our website stuff. Picture your brand services there instead. This is what it would generally look like here. The big mistake is you have your Google ad, right next to it you have your organic result. We talked about in strategy bridging the gap. So build a marketplace, for example. If I'm already ranking #1 for that, so I want to spend a lot of time positioning an ad, especially since here this example, Share Tribe, and I gave you this example because it's not a good one. So Share Tribe, for example, they have no competition, right? Why would they place an ad there? What would be the point of that? Why spend money on the ad if they're already ranking #1? It looks like they rank #2 in the search too. They have a / that's ranking. So it's almost that they're dominating the search or they're dominating search. To place the ads kind of just like, putting 2 cherries instead of 1 on your sundae. I don't necessarily know that that's where I put my revenue. But it could have been that maybe they had a competitor that was bidding on it, and now they're outspending their competitor. There's different reasons why, but traditionally what I'd like to do here with this is if I'm ranking #1 for something or I'm not ranking #1, there's a hard fought term that I want to go after. It's just so hard to rank in the top 3 to 5, right? So I might place an ad spend there if I see my competition just killing it. So that's what I call bridging the gap there. Okay, and then you have your display ads. These are the visual ads you see on other websites across medium. This could also be a remarketing tool. This could be a remarketing ad. So I visited the website, I didn't convert, I left. If that's the case, then I'm gonna have some pretty ads that just follow me all around the world and haunt me. These ads here are visual. There are certain there's a method to the madness. You don't want to have too much copy. It doesn't want to read like the Gutenberg Bible here. You want to have short, concise, simple messaging with a simple button and a simple CTA. When you click on this, it better link to something on the website that mentions this. Like this image of a lighthouse here, #1 growth agency on Long Island, the 2 of them better correlate when you go to the landing page. If a user doesn't find some correlation there, whether it be the hero images, that lighthouse or something like that, or the messaging is the same, then it might impact your conversion and your bottom line. Okay, here is an example of a shopping ad. Again, these are optimizable. These are the sponsored paid ones. This is Gymshark. There are ones in the freemium Google shopping feed, the free version, that are more of an optimizational effort that you would have to go on site and do some optimization. But these are the paid ones that you see first, or you see them over to the side. So these ones are going to appear when you click on the shopping area. Okay, I'm showing you real quick what the ads portal looks like. I don't want to get too deep into the ad area, but this is a real-time snippet of it. So this tells me what my clicks are, how many clicks I've gotten, how many impressions, my conversion rate, which is rather high here. It's this is a real-time client, over 14%, and the click-through conversion rate, which is again that's rather high. Looks like I'm giving you almost half of a month here of metrics. This shows you your bidding strategy, your terms. You can see it by clicks, phone calls, form submissions. Here I'm looking at phone calls because that's the conversion factor that this client particular likes. This shows me the campaigns, how much each campaign costs in juxtaposition to the clicks, right? You could start making some observations here that, you know, I'm clicking on a dynamic search versus my general broad stroke campaign. General campaign is the one we looked at, right? You might notice that you have better conversion rate in one area or the other. So then you could start to move around your dollar allocation. The same is true with the biggest changes in terms of your ad groups. A lot of people do what they call exact match ads. So Long Island SEO has to be an exact match there. It has to say long plus island SEO. You can't have any movement in that word. Most of the clients that come to me have it set up there. They already have an ads account. That's not how you should be doing it. You should be setting it up so Google could decide the best factors to get a user there. There are other ways of setting this up. I would make sure it's set up as ad groups. There's your conversion tracking, if you have any tracking set up for that. So we have recorded conversations. So when someone calls, I have call tracking set up so that when they pick up the phone and it's over 30 seconds, meaning it went ring, 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 and then someone picked up the phone, I'm monitoring that. I could listen to that call because I want to listen to those calls and understand the quality of that traffic or that quality of that call. If that call came off my effort through here, which again, this is a real-time client, if they came off there and let's say they hung up the phone on the third ring, I would know that. I would not count that as a goal. And that's how no two agencies are really created equal here. You know, there's a lot of ways to fudge and puff up these numbers. Don't like to do that. So if they didn't convert, if no one called, they picked up the phone and called, and then they didn't convert, or they hung up on the third ring, it's not a conversion for me. Or it rang, someone picked up the phone and it was a bot. Hey, did you know your car's extended warranty? The salesperson hang up, not a conversion for me. So it's important to do some type of call tracking so you can really get real world understanding, not just see my phone rang with spam 17 times. Okay, ads overview here. This will tell you the different ad campaigns you're running, what the ad type is. These text ones are the ones I showed you that are at the top of the search. A responsive search ad is one that is probably the visual display ad that we saw. Okay, these are our campaign by type. If this gives me an understanding of how much I'm spending, what's my average CPC, my cost per click, my click-through conversion rate, how many impressions I'm getting. So the impressions are how many people saw the ad versus how many clicked on that ad, right? I'm not paying for an impression, I'm paying for a click. How many people clicked on that ad, and then how many people that clicked on that ad went through to the website and then converted. So these are the numbers you really need to know for ads overall. Ad groups, we talked about ad groups just now. Everything should be set up in a grouping. It shouldn't just be set up a la carte as a direct match keyword. And then your keyword overview, this will tell you from there, the plus this, plus that, you know, that will tell you what terms people are clicking on and what variations of them. All right, and that overall is the analytical discussion. I do want to hear from you guys about some of your hangups, some things you want to see in analytics, some questions you might have. But before I do that, I know Scott wants to speak really quick.
Okay, I just wanted to just take a moment and say thank you to Renee and the SBDC for having us for these sessions. Thank you, Frank, for sharing your incredible knowledge. It's much appreciated. It would be impossible for us to know where each of you, the attendees, are on your trajectory in your business, but we would encourage you to go to YouTube, rewatch these sessions, and please feel free to reach out to Frank or myself, and we will be happy to be of any kind of help for you. A little bit of a sales pitch here, but our agency, we do work for Fortune 500 companies all the way down to single person accounting firms. So we can do the entire gamut of your brand online. So please feel free to reach out to us. You're also welcome to invite any friends or family that may benefit from speaking to Frank or myself. We'd be happy to do that. So thank you again, Renee. We appreciate it.
We are more than thankful for you all coming on here, and I am just getting the questions together.
Okay, so bot traffic, can you pull out from your analytics? You can scrub bot traffic. You could also stop bad traffic. The best thing to do is to stop it completely. That's why you'll see a lot of these crazy recaptchas. Find a bridge, make which ones are cars. Those things are great. Google provides those. There's also those make a word, and you have to exact match the word. There's ones you slide or you do something with. So I rather implement those than get into a crazy diagnosis of where my bot traffic is coming from and how to squash that traffic. It might be as simple as like one IP address that you're finding. You can just scrub out that IP address in the back end. But yeah, and there's also whole nother thing where if you're my team is they're some of the smartest people I know. One of them, we once came up with we had a competitor who was visiting one of our clients' websites and trying to scrub all the data and filling out forms and just going nuts with bots, just slamming the traffic with bot traffic, which was killing the bandwidth on the site. So we dynamically served that IP something else, where they got a whole different thing altogether. So there are some things you can do or some tactics. What I would suggest is just getting a recapture or something like that to just negate the bot traffic. If they are circumventing that and they're still figuring it out, then you'll have to diagnose something else. But 9 times out of 10, the size of the sites, that we'll probably be talking about here, that's gonna be all you have to do. Okay, to clarify, traffic is the number of people visiting your website. Correct. Conversion point, the moment the user performs the desired action you've set. Correct. Good way of saying that. Join an email list, subscribe for a coupon code. Subscribe for a coupon code would be the email list essentially, but yes. Join text list, etc. Yes, if that's your goal. So if your goal is to get people to join for a text list, that's like a tier 2. Tier 1 in this case was an email magnet. Then those would be your tier 1 and tier 2 goals, which we would see in analytics, and you'd have those set up properly. You could assign how much you think they're worth, right? A subscribe for an email list has a really good conversion rate. So I'm going to give that $50 a lead. Whereas a text, they don't convert as well. So that's probably only $25 a lead. Very simple sales stuff, you talk about in your sales meetings. If you're to do that, then that would be your goals. Your conversion point would be each one of those buttons, and you'd have a goal 1 and a goal 2, etc., all the way down. Should you point your advertising towards where your traffic is coming from? Or try strong arm into looking like you want? So embrace or shape it, I guess. So I think what you're asking me is if you're running an ad, a pay-per-click ad, should you point it to your, let's say the homepage is your top visited page? Should you point it there? No, absolutely not. You need to be as specific as possible with those ads, and that's leaving money on the table a lot of times for some of my clients or my prospective clients that want to work with me. They will have like an ad set and it's just going somewhere. It's going to a blog page without a conversion point. I'm actually dealing with one of those right now, where they love their blog, but there's nowhere to convert. User wants to click on the ad, learn what the ad was about that they clicked on. So they want to see some semblance of that ad. I showed you the example with a lighthouse. I want to see that picture of a lighthouse. It's not something I'm going to serve on my homepage, but it's going to be something I put on this special landing page for that ad. That's going to have a unique conversion funnel. Okay, should your advertising, okay. How much would a basic site cost to have set up, an estimate? It's tricky to say. I mean, without knowing your goals, I mean, how much is it to get my car fixed? I don't know what's wrong with the car, or what my goals are with the car. Am I looking just to get to the train station, or am I going to drive across the country tomorrow? So, I need to be able to understand a little bit more. We have sites that are a couple grand. I have sites that we build that are a lot more money. I don't think you'd be a lot more money based on where we're at here. But email me. email me and we could discuss your goals and how to get there based on your budget allocation. You know, not all 2 goals are created equal. There's no one size fits all. I see this all the time with these phony marketing companies where, oh, $2.99 a month and we bill your credit card and never talk to you. Don't do that. Let's have a conversation, see where you want to get and what your budget might look like and how to get there. Again, as I said, if there's math you figure out here. I make $100 a week. My ROI from that $100 from my revenue, my ROI is $50. I should take 30% of that and apply it towards a marketing budget or something to that degree, based on after my bills are on, expenses are all paid. So we could look and see what that should look like and how it makes sense to you and your goals and your overall business model. My email address, I believe it's going to be in a follow-up email, but it's I could put it in the chat here as well.
Thank you. And Rodney did have a follow-up on that. It was to a website to get people to see and be aware of his company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That might be, I don't think any website is simple. There's no simple, you know, when your problems are complex, like I need to build revenue, which can be a complex problem, you know, the solution isn't always simple. So I don't like to say, a simple website. You know, my web team would haze me. But there are easy solutions, you know, more palatable solutions for any kind of budget. So let's have a follow-up conversation. Number 3, right? No, I'm on number 5. Okay, fair. Like if I'm getting hits mainly from New York City, but located in upstate New York, would be, yep. So it depends on your business. I mean, if you're getting a lot of hits in New York City, it just could be because that's where your prospect is. You know, they're all in Manhattan, or maybe they're in Manhattan 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, because they work and they commute to the city. That's a weird problem that I see a lot of times. So if they do that, and then they might, you know, you might find that they're visiting your website from New York, but it's because they're in an office in, you know, Times Square. But then they travel on home to, you know, Hartford, Connecticut or something. You know, they're somewhere, you know, they're on Long Island, they're wherever they are. That might be the case. You know, you might see that. So keep that in mind. But if you're seeing a lot of traffic coming from New York City, it might be because there's a lot of business opportunity there. So don't negate that. But if it's that you just, you know, you're restricted, you deliver pallets of stones, you know, for driveways and stuff, and you can't deliver them in New York City, then it's something you need to consider in the strategy and why you're getting that traffic. That could be from a keyword reason. It could be from the way you're targeting ads. There could be a reason for it. Do you have any suggestions about how to go about writing a privacy policy for your website? I do. I'm not a legal expert. Nope. I never went to law school. I saw a couple episodes of Better Call Saul. Has nothing to do with that. What I suggest is there are plenty of templates out there, and if you have a WordPress site, there's plenty of plugins that will help you with that. You need a pop-up where people accept the consent, and then you need a page on your site that further explains that consent. And there's some really cute tools and templates where it just auto puts the name of your business and stuff, and that should be good. Some are paid, some are not. If you have any questions on that, feel free to email me. I could lead you in the right direction.
Very cool. That was the last question for you. We did get a few questions for folks who wanted to watch the recordings.
Okay.
We do have those on our YouTube channel. And so I'll go ahead and I will share that in the chat right now. If anybody has any trouble clicking that link that I just shared, it will be in the follow-up email. So you can keep an eye out for it there. And they're just listed by their titles. I should probably add the session number to them too. I will work on that later today. But yeah, that was the last question, Frank. We got lots of thank yous that rolled in. So I really appreciate that. And Scott, thank you for lending us Frank for this series. Yeah, lots of more thank yous rolling in. Let's see if I missed anything.
And I know, again, just to recap on all 4 weeks of this, I know I missed a lot of stuff on purpose. And I also know that some of this stuff might be a little deep water. I really tried to cram as much in here as I possibly could for you guys while giving you the best bang for your buck. I know going to these little seminars at, you know, 10 a.m. on a Tuesday aren't the greatest. I used to go to them, and now I'm blessed to give them. but take the little snippets that you need to take out of there from this. If the snippet you're taking out of there is there's a lot of opportunity in digital marketing for you to do, it's just a huge mountain to climb because you're not tech savvy. Get started. Get started with stuff. You're going to need a website if you don't have one. Get started building a website. If you're going to ask me in the chat that you need a website, you need you need a website. From there, once you have your hub, your website, you can start figuring out what to do with marketing. I'm gonna write one piece of content a month, and I know I want to rank for driveway pavers near me, driver pavers in Buffalo, pizzerias in Buffalo. And then from there, you start to really hone that in. Then maybe you add an email component, and you're sending out a quarterly newsletter with that. So you kind of build upon what you're doing. None of this stuff happens automatically overnight, where you just have this robust digital marketing campaign, and you're just killing it. That unless your budget's grandiose, it's just not going to happen. The other thing I want to say is that this don't do things that you don't have an understanding of, right? I'm not a skilled plumber, so I'm not going to go demo my bathroom right now and assume I'm going to get good results. I'm going to look around for the best possible person based on my budget to accomplish that stuff. It's not a sales pitch for me by any means. I do see a lot of times that a lot of small business, and Scott and I love our small businesses. We love our big businesses because they help keep our lights on, but we have a strong passion for small business. Don't bite off more than you can chew, and don't get sold by some gimmick. There are a lot of gimmicks out there, and it kind of, for lack of a better word, it pisses me off when I see those terrible gimmicks. $2.99 a month for some marketing nonsense, and then they just bill your card for a year because they got you for a year. And then they come to me and they're very skeptical about stuff like it's a magic pill. When I started with you, I said that a lot of people think SEO and things of that nature are a magic pill. They're not. Things take time. Everything takes time and effort and energy. So with that in mind, really field what you're going to take on, who you're going to take on, whether it be a kid in the basement or a premier company like Active Web Group. Just make sure you understand what you're paying for, what service, and what to expect out of that service. If that's the only thing you're taking out of here, some verbiage, what to look for and what to diagnose, I've done my job. I didn't expect for anybody to be a senior digital marketing strategist, but if you became one from this presentation, send me your resume, please. So yeah, so I hope you guys, I imparted some wisdom here as you start to undertake your journey here in digital marketing. Just know it's a process. It's a slump uphill, and you'll get to where you're going. Just be consistent.